This may well be part 3 and field number 3. So a change of scenery. This field here, this is the route of the original trackway, roughly where that plough line ends. So we're going to follow that fence line up to the far side of the field and then probably work our way back. And if we don't turn up very much, we can branch out into some of these very windy and exposed fields over on this side. So this is the old trackway that Fletch and I came across towards the end of a dig a few months back, and we got 9 or 10 coins in literally the last 30 minutes of daylight. There's also an old well in this field, and quite close to that I produced a hammered English coin of Edward the First, which dated to the 1290s. So fingers crossed there is more to come from this field. So much for a coin on the old trackway. Can you guess what it is? It is a fork. Well done. A 4-tine, 4 prongs fork. Probably going to be 50, 100, 150 years old. Right, let's see if we can winkle out is the word I'm looking for, some coins. In fact, I'm actually spied a bit of glass just popping out as well. Is it whole or is it broken? It is broken. That's a shame. And that is a big top off what would surely have been a pretty big glass bottle, I'm guessing. Good signs. Let's see what we can turn up. A nice piece of social history for Marty, a wee eyes only find. Now we reckon that this is Bridge End. You can just see the E at the end and then end. Bridge End, which is Perth. It's not far away from here. It's also called the Smeaton Bridge, Smeaton, because of the, if I remember rightly, the engineer who designed it and built it. And Perth is the biggest town in Perthshire, Scotland. So it's probably some sort of transfer print. So date wise, it's probably going to be 1850s, 1900s, Victorian probably in date. Shame it's broken, but hey ho. Bit of a wishy-washy signal this one, but I reckon we've got a part of a pocket watch. I think that's one of the interior parts. Not the faceplate, but you know, you can see where there's obviously a pendulum going back and forward maybe there. Probably a Victorian pocket watch back in the day when everyone and anyone who could afford them would have one. My pocket watch was just there at that disturbed ground right there, and just a few steps away, do you see a bit of green? I haven't even had to dig yet. That looks like a button or a coin. Let's see. It's a coin. It is our first coin on the trackway. And it is George V again. Georgius V, by the grace of God. King of the Britons. Defender of the faith. Not in the best of condition, but might clean up a little bit once we get home. It's going to be a halfpenny. Oh, and I think we're going to struggle to get a date off that. Date would be down there, but no, it's toasted. You can just make out Britannia seated on the back, but this one has suffered. Date wise, I'm trying to think when he was on the throne. I think it was, his father was Edward the 7th, Teddy, and he died I think in about 1907, 1909 give or take. So, and I think George the 5th died sometime in the 1930s, mid 1930s. But it's a coin, hopefully more to come. I'm hoping we've got another coin. Quite a solid signal, fingers crossed. Let's have a look. It was barely under the surface and it's gone to junk. Well, not junk, but not great since it came out, and there it is there, I think. we have got a Tinius Caneus, or aka a tin can. Damn it. Don't mention the Russians, but Albert has found his first ever lead seal. And these were attached to bales of flax that were brought over from the Baltic states, particularly Russia and Latvia and Estonia. And the flax was then milled in the mills in Perthshire into linen. But they also made jute as well. And this one dates to I think it's 1873. 1873, so that's the only airtime we're going to give Russia for the moment. Well done, his first ever flax seal. Just no sooner said to Albert that this field is littered with pottery and glass. I mean, it's literally, there's bits and pieces absolutely everywhere. And is it going to be intact? Look at that. That is a tiny little bottle. Oh, I think it's going to be whole. It is. Oh, it's cracked at the top. Damn it. That is a little bottle. Damn, what a shame. Just damaged on the rim. That is a little, I don't know, maybe a little perfume bottle, but look at it, what a stunning shape it is. It's got these little sort of shoulders within it. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. I'm guessing date wise it's probably going to be sometime in the Victorian period, 1850s through to the beginning of the 1900s. I think there's been a bottle dump. Probably one of the local farmhouses has just been throwing their junk out in the field. It may be that they dug pits and they put their rubbish in, and the plough is obviously just bringing some of them to the surface. But what a shame to think that that might have literally just happened, because the field's only been ploughed just a few weeks ago. I actually can spot another big bit of glass sticking out, so I'm going to go and have a wee look at that as well. I just caught a glimpse of that from out the side of my vision. It was slightly popping out the ground and I realised straight away it was broken. But big bit of green glass. So there's plenty of tableware and pottery and glass going on, so surely there have to be some more good finds. Got another surface find, but it's metal, and I spotted it just before I went over it with the detector. Which is why you've always got to keep your eyes open when you're metal detecting. Do you see what I see? And I think it's a coin. You see the letters? I can see the letters IND, IMP, INDIMP, which is Emperor of India. So all this heavy rain that we've had sometimes has its benefits. Is it going to be Georgius V? It is. It is Georgius V, and it's another halfpenny. So yeah, all this heavy rain can help. It makes it difficult to walk on the fields, but after they've been ploughed, it helps to pat them down a little bit. And obviously sometimes the heavier items can rise to the surface. So excellent, halfpenny number 2. Let's give it a clean up and see. We've got a date at the bottom, 1917. You can see the words halfpenny. You can just kind of make out Britannia on the back. The other side's better. George V with his wee head, looking to the left with his fine moustache. Reading up about some of the royals a few days ago, because I am a historian and tour guide, so always trying to learn. I found out that George V was actually euthanized. He died in the middle of the 1930s, if I remember correctly, but the royal physician who was treating him when he was ill, he'd suffered terrible problems with his health, not helped by the fact he had bronchitis and smoked like a chimney. When he finally took ill and was bedbound, his royal physician, I'm sure I remember his name was Lord Dawson, he decided to euthanize the king, and he gave him a lethal cocktail of morphine and cocaine to end his life. And it's even more ironically, he did it without the permission of the royal family. He was a bit of an advocate for euthanasia. There's also another reason why he did it at the time he did it. He did it in the evening. I think it was something like 11:30 at night. Part of the reason he chose to do it at that time was so that the death of the king could be announced in the morning papers. Because the evening papers, they used to bring out a morning and an evening edition, they were considered to be less appropriate for someone of the king's stature. So you always wanted to appear in the morning editions if you were anyone important. So they actually killed him just before midnight so that they could announce it to the newspapers in time to get in their morning edition. But it only came to light in the mid-1980s that the king had in fact been euthanised. You could say poisoned, because it wasn't done with his or his family's permission when they released the private journals of the dead doctor, and he admitted that he'd killed the king with cocaine and morphine. What a way to go. The wind is really whipping up now, so much for me saying earlier that it was quite a nice day. Got another bit of glass, another little bottle, maybe a little sauce bottle or something like that. Lovely green colour. Very, very sharp edges, so that's only been broken relatively recently. You tend to find when they've rattled about in the ground for a while, the edges kind of round off, but that is sharp, sharp, sharp. It's a shame. There's clearly a bottle dump somewhere here. Be interesting to discover that. This one didn't sound great in the ground, but now it's out, it's blowing the ears off. I was going to say maybe a coin if I was really lucky, but that is not a coin. What is that? That is a thing. What is it? Is it a whistle? Or a valve? Could be a valve. Yes, I'm going to say that's a valve for a car tyre. An old pneumatic tyre. What do you reckon? Maybe off a 1950s Morris Minor, or maybe even earlier. Let me know. Another strange one. A little fragment of something that's broken off of something. I'm going to say it's a letter J. A J for John. We've got a really good one here. I'm going with either silver coin or aluminium. That is aluminium. Let's see. Damn, I hate it when I'm right. I was right. It's aluminium. It looks like it's part of one of these, these little boxes you would get that you come with a key attached that you peel back, and there's some sort of mackerel or some sort of fish. That's what it looks like to me. Oh well. More poison bottles. There was a lot of poisoning going on in Perthshire back in the day, or a lot of very sick people, one or the other. It's another one of these sort of beautiful purpley blue coloured glass bottles, which were normally an indication of poison. Just such a shame that they're all smashed. Even that one that I almost got that was intact, just slightly damaged, but they really made beautiful glass back in those days. Again, probably going to be Victorian, 1850s through to the beginning of the 1900s. There must be something in the air about finding intaglios or these things for pressing into wax or clay or whatever, because Marty's found with eyes only, because there's no metal attached. It's this little, it's like a rose red coloured glass. Difficult to see with the light and the wind, but he just spotted that on the surface, so that's just an eyes only find. And it's got these little flower heads, 7 of them. No metal at all, but probably would have been set in something originally. Nice find, well done Martyn. Just a quick catch up with Martyn again, and he's got himself 2 coins in quick succession, both yet again gorgeous George V, and we have got a date of 1912 on one, and 1918 on the other. Both 1 pennies, and George V ruled from about 1908 until about 1935, 1936. So clearly lots going on during the reign of George V. Marty on the buttons this time. He's got a heart-wrenching tomback, which you always think is a silver coin when you find it that way around, and on the other side it's not. And then he's got a little domed button, which looks like it's been tinned or silvered at some point. Both of them probably, well, the one on the left might be slightly older, 16 into the 1700s, and probably 17 into the beginning of the 1800s. And another eyes only find for Martyn. He's on the fags. This is a little bit of a smoking pipe. You can see the hole that goes all the way through. And these were practically disposable. You would use them for a short period of time and then you would chuck them away. So date wise, probably going to be sometime 16, 17 into the 1800s. The cheaper tobacco became, the bigger the pipes got, the bigger the bowls for smoking got, and the more people began to smoke. Martyn's on fire. He's got himself a wee lead cube, almost like a die or a dice, but without any detail or decoration on it. Oh well. Another find right on the surface, didn't even need to dig. I actually spotted it before it gave off a metal ping, and it's a real shame it's broken, because look at that. That is a beautiful button, probably late 17 into the 1800s, I would think. I think they call these, what is it, engine turned buttons. You can see all the various engraving marks on it. It's got a starburst in the middle, it's got these concentric lines and then these little dimples. Would have been really nice back in its day. We think Martyn might have found a cannonball. What do you reckon? It is iron, it is circular, it is very heavy. What else could it be? I really don't know. There is a medieval fort not far away from here, and there is an army that camped here in the 1600s during the English Civil War, or the War of the Three Countries, or whatever it is they call it now. So could it be a cannonball? I think it is. I'm surprised how poorly that signal came through, because it wasn't particularly deep. And that is a musket ball made of lead. Normally they blow the ears off you. So it could well be a pistol, or what's called a dag in Scotland, but it could also be a small calibre of musket. So the first recorded use of firearms in Scotland was in the 1380s, and they really began to take off, not just firearms but also cannons, from the beginning of the 1400s. James II, King of Scotland, was a nut job when it came to firearms. He was obsessed with particularly cannons and artillery, and that cost him his life, because he laid siege to Roxburgh Castle in the borders of Scotland in 1460. It was the last English castle or fortification in Scotland at the time, and he decided he wanted to finally get rid. And one of the cannons exploded, and a piece of the shrapnel from the cannon, I remember rightly, it severed an artery in his leg, and he died within about 60 seconds. So don't play with cannons. Nice find. Another eyes only find. Very obvious to spot because it's bright white. I think we might have a smoking pipe. Maybe. Ah, don't believe it. I've done it again. It's from a silicon gun. It's plastic. Oh, for goodness sake. This is the second time I've done this. Oops, dropped it. This is the second time I've done this year, I think. What an idiot. Got a great sounding signal right here. Somewhere. There it is. Surely that has got to be a coin. Let's have a look. Damn it! That is not a coin. That is some sort of hinge or fitting. Stainless steel. Damn. I've got myself an ancient relic, but I don't know what it is. It is made of bronze, and I don't know what it is. It's got a little lug there. I almost thought, is it part of a piece of cutlery or something like that, but I don't know. It looks like it's been in the ground for a long time anyway, but I've no idea what it is. We have another button, and it seems to be Chas Scott, and then you've got the name Blair Gowrie below it. So Blair Gowrie's a town about 6 or 8 miles away from where we are just now, and we've had quite a lot of Blair Gowrie buttons off these fields, so they must have been doing a roaring trade supplying all the way to Perth. Date wise, probably going to be 1900s, 1950s, not particularly old. Another coin for Martyn. It's pretty much blank. There's something going on there, but not enough that we can decipher. I think it's going to be another George, somewhere between probably George the First and George the Third. So that's 1714 through to 1820, give or take. It's probably a halfpenny. If I had to hazard a guess, I'd probably say it's George the Second. But it's a coin. And a couple of bizarre eyes only finds for Martyn. Look at this thing here. It's like a porcelain bead almost. Very strange. Any ideas how old that could be? Let us know. And also, look at that, you got a cracking marble. It's got a chip out the side, and you can see how colourful it would have been, like the stripes of toothpaste colours coming through. That's probably going to be, I don't know, 1850s through to the early 1900s. Child's marble. Well done. And another eyes only find for Martyn. We've got a number 4, and we've got the letters U, C and B. And unfortunately, just on the rim, like my little bottle, it's damaged. No other writing or decoration on it. It may be an ink pot, possibly. Feeling that maybe some kind of jam or honey. Date wise, probably going to be again from the sort of Victorian 1830s through to the beginning of the 1900s. Always worth keeping your eye out for surface finds. A wee catch up with Albert with his last few finds. He got a George the 6th penny and he got a George the 5th penny. So this is father and son. So we've got 1938 and we've got 1930, both in pretty good condition. And he also got, if I can fumble around, he got himself a livery button. So this, I think, is a livery button, but unusually it's got letters around the edge, but I can't quite make them out. And that'll probably be the family insignia of a particular well-to-do family, a landowning family, and all of their employees would have had these buttons on their waistcoats or on their jackets. Date wise, probably going to be 17 into the 1800s. And that is going to be us for the day. Typical is just as we go to give up is when the wind drops, and it's a pretty nice day. So thank you all for watching. If you don't already, give me a subscription and we'll see you on the next dig.